Good morning, everyone. How are you today? So good to be with you on this here Monday morning. Let's see, make sure we got ourselves well connected. Hopefully so. Hopefully we don't have any streaming issues this morning. So for those of you who are joining for the first time, welcome again. My name is Patricia Hayes. I am a executive advisor, empowerment coach, and authentic networking strategist, which just means that I love working with people to help them get to the next level of themselves, in an empowered way, utilizing all of the resources at their disposal, purposefully and aligned with who they are and what they want to do, especially when it comes to connecting up and building the relationships that they need long term for your professional life and your business life. So there we are. And I'm super excited to be continuing here with our new fall series where we are going to be talking about developing an empowered you this month. And today, specifically, we're talking about identifying the 3.0 version of yourself. I love this topic, and you will learn from some of the stories I'm about to tell you why. But it's one of those things that people assume but don't actively it doesn't actively register as to what's going on. So we're going to talk about that today because as you continue to grow, as you look to build and what you're doing professionally for your business, there's just this reality of that you outgrow who you were and you're moving to the next level of who you are. And we need to be more actively engaged and aware of that. So that's what we're talking about today. And I'm ready to jump right in. So it was so appropriate that this past week, the newest version of the iPhone came out, right? I think we're on I don't know, 14.0. So here's the thing. It, of course, raises this frenzy about, oh my gosh, I may need the latest, greatest thing. What's on this version that's not on the previous version, and all of those things. Well, that situation brings me back to this story that happened maybe, I think, spring of 2021. So more than a year ago. And where my son had an old phone. And I had decided, I was like, you're not getting an upgraded phone until some other things shift and change. And literally this phone is going to fall apart in your hand. And it was like a 5S or something, y'all. It was ridiculously, getting old. And I got this package in the mail. No, first I got some emails saying, hey, you've got this new phone, or this new phone has been ordered for you. I'm like, I didn't order a new phone. That's not cool. So I ignored it. And then I went to the mailbox one day. And when I went to the mailbox, there was literally a phone for my son's phone line. So for his phone number in the box sent to me by our carrier saying, hey, this is great. Thanks for upgrading. And I'm like, I didn't do this. Well, here is the thing. I may not have been tired of him carrying around that old phone, but they were tired of him carrying around that old phone. We'll talk a lot more about that, right? They were so tired of him carrying around that old phone that they sent an upgraded phone for free. No jokes. And I was dumbfounded. But I love that for this version of this story because it's so relevant to us in our everyday lives about how we're walking around trying to operate on a modern, frequency on an old phone, and it's not working. And we're wondering why we're stuck and things aren't working on that old version when it's because we haven't upgraded to the new version of who we are. And so years ago, this whole thing, this whole concept of the new version of you, whatever point version you are, started because of a coffee meeting I had with an old colleague of mine. We would normally meet at least 2, 3 times a week after we stopped, working together on a daily basis. We meet 2, 3 times a year. And so this particular visit had been a while since we had been on it. And so we were talking and he was throwing out some ideas and some conversation about some things for me to do that he thought I would be interested in. And unbeknownst to him, he did not know I was no longer interested in those types of opportunities. So finally I had to stop and say, I'm like, I'm really not, that's not really where I am right now. I'm really kind of shifting to something different. And he stopped dead in his tracks and says, okay, I'm sorry, tell me what Patricia 2.0 is doing. And that has stuck with me all of these years because it is so accurate about how we are growing to the next level. And not only do we need to acknowledge it for ourselves, but we need to acknowledge it and inform others of what it is we're doing and who we are and what we're trying to do so that they can stay informed and not feed us bad information, or not even necessarily bad, but old information, misaligned information, misaligned opportunities. Okay. And it's so, so important. And I got to get my networking plug in because this is extremely important when we are nurturing our professional relationships, when we're staying in touch with our inner circle, with our circle in general, about making sure that they know who we are and where we are today. All right. And you can only do that if you are staying in touch, if you're being consistent about your touches and about reaching out. So, I got to slip in my networking plug for the day. So that's why it's so important. So today, as we move along, here's the thing. The next level of you, the next level of growth, the next level goals require growth. And it's the only way to get there. And that's something that's really tough sometimes. And we'll talk about some reasons why that people have a struggle with. But if you really want to achieve your next level goals, whatever they are, you have to prepare yourself for growth. So when you are identifying you 3.0, 4.0, whatever version, I think I'm on 5 or 6 myself. But when you are identifying that next level of you, here are a few things that are super important to the process. First of all, you have to be ready to be uncomfortable. And this is not one of those hokey or it's not one of those woo-woo things. And it's also not like this, super hard strategy. It's just a fact of life. You must be ready to be uncomfortable. You have to be willing to accept the challenges that lie ahead and to challenge your pre-existing norms, your pre-existing thought patterns and concepts about how you approach life, how you approach your business, all of those things. And it's really important because as you shift, as you grow, it's not neat in a package, right? Anyone who's being honest with you will tell you that growth is uncomfortable, it's messy, and sometimes it's even painful. It's just the reality of it, okay? So you have to be willing to be in that space and to not fight it so hard. It's so funny how that as we're on our path to growth and as we're achieving those next level things, we also will fight ourselves, making it so much more, exhausting and so much more painful. So be willing to be uncomfortable, be willing to sit still, yeah, and to acknowledge what's going on around you so that you can accept what's coming and you can, use it as you move to the next level. Okay. That one that I really kind of brushed over, but really want to reemphasize is the point of challenging your pre-existing norms. Y'all know I'm all about challenging conventional wisdom and questioning it, if nothing else. Okay. And that's important so that you don't carry old things into the new way of being, to the new way of who you want to be, because it won't serve you well. All right. So it won't serve you well. And challenging those things is going to be a good thing overall because it'll also shift your thinking and how you approach things. So here's the thing. I love this factor. If none of these things occur, right, I have to tell you that sometimes your growth is not enough. So if you're not uncomfortable, if you're not feeling some, messiness and even a little bit of pain in the process, dare I say that maybe you're not really setting your goals high enough. I had this come up in a conversation, I think during a presentation that I was making during a Q&A session. And one of the follow-up questions from one of the participants was, well, I set my goals to this, and I've 3 months I did it, and so I'm kind of like lost what I should be doing. And I said, well, congratulations, and let me tell you, you set your goals too low. Because when you set your goals high enough, they should challenge you. They may even frustrate you. But if they're easily achieved, then you need to question whether you really set a ambitious enough goal. All right. So that's something to think on. Just a little something to think on. Okay. So first of all, when you're identifying you 3.0, be ready to be uncomfortable. All right. Be ready to sit in that and to utilize it to set the foundation for what's coming next. All right. The second thing is you have got to engage in honest self-reflection. It is absolutely crucial to the process. And you've been hearing me talk about reflection and self-reflection for a lot the last few months. And that's because, the more I grow, the more I go through, and all of the coaching experiences that I brought through to you for myself that I've engaged in recent times, that reflection piece is so crucial. We have to slow down long enough to think about what is actually going on around us. Like, what are we actually engaging in? And a lot of times people are too scared to slow down. And you're like, what do you mean? Because they're like, oh gosh, I'm going to miss out, right? We all have that fear of missing out, that FOMO thing that happens. And guess what? You're not going to miss out on what's going on there. You're going to miss out on what's going on in you. Oh my goodness. How powerful is that, right? Do you really want to miss out on what's going on inside you? And the answer should be no. Okay. And so make sure that you're taking that reflection time, because if you are not willing to acknowledge where you've been, then you're headed to nowhere. Like, you won't be able to set direction to a good new place. Now, here's the thing. Here's the caveat. I'm not saying live in and wallow in what happened before. We do that. I've been guilty of it, right? There are things in our lives, especially, where we have to acknowledge what it is and move past it and move on. But you're going back and you're looking at it not to have a pity party or to beat yourself up, but rather to recognize what are the foundational growth things that you needed to learn from that, because that is going to be very important for you moving forward and deciding what things you do engage in versus those things that you do not. Okay. The past and all the things that happened it is not flawless. It is far from perfect. And we have to be willing to acknowledge that. That is a part of the self-reflection process as well. However, the fact that it was not flawless does not mean it's not foundational. Okay. It can absolutely be foundational to you and setting the tone for where you go next. So engage in that self-reflection. Okay. The third thing is continuous learning is a must. And there are going to be several caveats here as well. There's always lessons in the learning experiences, right? There's so much that we can gain from once we've learned how to be uncomfortable, we've done the self-reflection, And then it's like, okay, what can I learn from these things? And what new learning opportunities do I need to engage in order to take me to the next level? Right. Now, a lot of times people will presume that the next thing that they need to do is, oh, well, I need to go get X degree. I need to go get this X certification. That could or could not be a part of the process. Going to formal education, and there will be people who are shocked to hear me say this, right? But relying or over relying on formal education for the next level of where we want to be can be just as dangerous as not engaging in learning at all. What do I mean? If you over rely on someone else to give you, quote, information for you to grow to the next level of you, it may mean that you are actually utilizing that educational experience as a crutch not to move forward. So yes, you could be learning all fantastic things and processes and strategies and all the things, the philosophy behind something. You could learn all of that. But if you are not engaging in actual experiential learning along the way, then that could become a crutch and keep you from going to the next level, to keep you from taking the leap that needs to be taken. Because at some point, we all have to take the leap. We all have to take the leap. You have to decide, oh my gosh, this is scary, but I'm gonna do it. If I really want to get to the next level, I have got to do it. Now, for some people, going back to school and engaging in a full-blown process is the scary thing, right? But be honest with yourself about whether you need that formal education or whether you're using it as a crutch to delay a real decision. Okay? Because that is something that absolutely can happen. And we have to learn how to value experiential learning. And I love saying that because sometimes, and everyone knows I love to read, right? I have collections of books. I've been a huge reader my whole life. I love going and reading all the how-tos and the what fors and the biographies to explore how people became successful, all of that. But there becomes times when just having a good old-fashioned conversation with a colleague, with someone else about what it is they experience in real time today, that is more valuable than any book that I can pick up. Okay. I had one of those conversations on last Friday. Colleague I hadn't spoken with in about 9 months or so. We finally caught up. And in an hour, there was just so much powerful conversation that we shared, sharing of experiences. What do you do for this? How do you do that? Oh my gosh, I didn't know, can you share that tool with me? That whole thing, right? You can get some of your best learning in a conversation. All right. So again, that means you have to schedule them. You have to engage with other people in a way so that you can build that trust and to be able to share those difficult things, those difficult experiences, and to do so in a safe space because you both know that the whole purpose of it is to learn and grow. Okay. So that is it. Identifying 3.0 version of you or whatever version you're on, the things that you really want and need in order for that to happen are, first, you have to be ready to be uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. It's messy and even a little painful, but it's still good, right? Secondly, honest self-reflection is crucial to the process. You do not want to miss out on becoming the best version of you because you were too scared to take a look inside, right? And third and lastly, continuous learning is a must. You have to be willing to go and learn from other people so that we can grow, strengthen our foundation and build up so that we can be ready for the next level of you and me. that is it, y'all. Thanks for joining me for Coffee Time Career Chat today. I look forward to following up with you again soon. Join us on Wednesday. It's an interview networking chat on Wednesday, so come check it out. All right, take care. Bye-bye.